start it now. Hello, everybody. I am Nishchal Uli, Arts Manager at the British Council, and I'd like to welcome you all to the fifth episode of the Virtual Heritage Tour series. Today, we'll be visiting Day, which is a village in the district of Mustang, which lies approximately 640 kilometers by road from the capital, Kathmandu. The mysterious village is locally known as Deva or Deva, and is said to have derived its name from the idea of Sukhavati, the Buddhist land of bliss. Our virtual heritage tour of Day will be guided by environmental anthropologist and filmmaker Dr. Fidel Devkota. I'll be introducing him shortly. He'll be taking us through Day's places of social, cultural, and religious importance, while also talking about the future of the village that is now dependent on agro-pastoralism and adapting to the effects of climate change. Virtual heritage tours are a series of digital engagements produced by StoryCycle with the British Council. The tours are part of our Dream City campaign, which produces original content and develops youth capacity to build unique narratives. Our Dream City promotes engagement with at-risk localities to realize youth engagement with local development practices and applied civic processes. Virtual heritage tours have been produced in response to the pandemic lockdown to offer audiences from across the world the chance to discover new places, celebrate Nepal's heritage and culture with experts from the safety of one's home. Ph.D. is supported by sign language interpretation. We have Prakash Mahajan with us, who will be signing for us today. Briefly, the format of the session is we'll start with a 30-minute presentation, followed by 15 minutes of Q&A. You can post your questions during the presentation or during the Q&A section in the comment section. And before I formally introduce our guide, I'd like to request everyone keep their mics on silent throughout and post their comments or any comments on the comment section. And also consider filling out our feedback form, which we'll link in the comment section once we are done with the Q&A section, and also email it out to everyone of the registrants. Now, a brief introduction of the guide. Dr. Fidel Devkota is an environmental anthropologist and a filmmaker with background in visual anthropology and filmmaking. He's a lecturer at the Department of Visual and Media Anthropology at Freie Universität, Berlin. Dr. Devkota's main research areas include environmental anthropology, visual anthropology, Himalayan anthropology, Tibetan studies, climate change, and migration, film studies and production as well, and media studies. He's actively involved in various projects and researches concerning Lower Mustang region and other parts of the Himalaya. In 2019, Dr. Devkota's film Dwindling, which highlights how the social and cultural dynamics of the communities in the Himalayan region are being affected by environmental and political changes, was selected to Cine Foundation's Cannes Festival's La Atelier program. He's based in Kathmandu and Berlin, and to learn more, you can visit www.fidel-films.com. Now, please passing on to Dr. Devkota to guide us through the thing. Thank you.
Thank you, Nishilji. Tasidele and namaste, everyone. I hope you are all safe and healthy. Welcome to the virtual tour of Day. I'm Fidel, your guide for today. Day is a small village located in Upper Mustang, in Mustang district of Nepal. Day is locally known as Deva, which means blissful land of Buddha, or Sri in Sanskrit. The locals are known as Deva, so Deva denotes both people and place. They locals speak Tibetan dialect known as Loa, which is quite different from standard Lhasa Tibetan. They is currently struggling with negative consequences of climate change and is about to relocate. However, this is not their first migration. They have moved in the past too. Today's tour will focus on their moving story and heritage around it. First, we start our tour from Kathmandu, the capital city of Nepal. Day is not that far from Kathmandu. Actually, it's around 450 to 500 kilometers away by road. However, getting there is not easy, not at all. First of all, we have to reach Pokhara, which takes around 6 hours by land and 25 minutes by air. From Pokhara, we have to travel towards Jeongho, the capital of Mustang district. By land, it takes around 10 hours. But by air, it's 20 minutes to reach from Jeongho from Pokhara. To get used to local condition, I recommend you to stay in Jeongho or Khagbeni. There are 2 local jeeps going to Upper Mustang every day, but you can also reserve your private ride. It takes around 7 hours from Jeongho to reach Chara, and from Tarang 1.5 hours to Day by jeep. There is also an ancient trail starting from Chuksang which goes to Day via Tange. One of the best trail you'll ever see. This is my personal favorite, absolutely beautiful. Day is located in Upper Mustang region. For ACAP and government institution, Upper Mustang starts above Kagbeni. But in real cultural sense, Upper Mustang starts from Kami village. Upper Mustang, a former kingdom of Low territory, consists of Dalome and Low Mustang area. Day is located in Dalome, or the Sari sector of Dalome, a mountainous area east of Lomantang. Dalome region is now known as Logega Damodarkunda Rural Municipality. So let's take some rest and see the present settlement of Day from far, because first we'll visit previous settlement of Day and come back to it later. So let's move on. So, nomadic people of Tibetan plain used to move looking for pasture for their animals and security from bandits and war. I believe that ancestor of Day moved to Caillou Valley for the same region from Tibetan plains. And they eventually settled permanently because the area was safe and pasture was good in the valley. Caillou settlement lies beneath the Vrikuti peak, the white peak in the center of this picture you can see. Caillou or Gangri Hill in Tibetan means snowy mountain settlement. There is not much information about the period of settlement, but the settlement patterns is similar to the Win of Coke settlement nearby, which is dated back to 10th century AD. So I believe it is tentatively around the same period. The Caillou Valley has numerous sacred sites and mythical places inside. There are mainly three kinds of ruins found in Caillou Valley. The ruins of stone houses, the ruins of fields and its boundary, and the ruins of water system. Here in this picture, you can see a structure, probably a house, but it is locally known as a Melakhan, which is a Gompa, which used to be a Gompa. There are around 50 ruins of these kind of housing units found in Caillou Valley. There is also a sacred lake in Caillou Valley, which is called Nakali Damodarkunda. In Tibetan, it's called Gayu Cho. Cho means lake, so it's a lake of Gayu. Pilgrims get confused with this lake, therefore it is called Nakali or duplicate. The real Damodarkunda is just a half a day walk from Caillou Valley. This lake changes color, and locals believe that it predicts the future of animal husbandry for that particular year. For example, if the color of the lake in the spring is red, then there will be death of the animals for that year. If it is green, then the pasture will be good. And if the color of the lake is white, then there will be a good milk production for that year. There are other sites such as Spring of Golden Water or Serchu, linked to the good health and long life. Near Caillou Valley, there is another valley called Kya, which consists of some caves and rock paintings. There are some vivid hunting scenes depicted in some of these rock paintings. My research shows that some of the paintings are prehistoric and some are also from the recent time. So far, no such paintings have been reported elsewhere in Low Mustang. Near to Caillou Valley, there is a place called Goma. Khampa guerrillas were active in Mustang in the 60s and 70s. They were fighting for the freedom of Tibet. One of their first camp was built in Gomar. After they surrendered to Nepalese army, so sites were destroyed, and all we can see is this kind of ruins. I think landslide and avalanche, even some political and cultural changes in and around the region may have forced the ancestor of they to migrate to lower grounds of Jeongho. Here you can see, in this picture, you can see how dry landslide is destroying the fields of Caillou settlement. This could be the main reason why they moved to lower grounds of Jeongho. Jeongho is just around 12 kilometers lower to the Caillou Valley, but it is but getting there it takes around 6 to 8 hours of by foot, and it's quite a hard walk. Jeongho is a cave settlement. There are about 60 caves at various levels. Most of the caves openings have eroded and destroyed, completely destroyed. Villagers still use these caves to dry herbs in summer, and local monks sometimes use them for their winter retreat. These caves were originally made in the era of cave dwellers, but later used or enhanced by other civilizations. There is a site next to Jeongho settlement, which consists of bone manuscripts, caves, rocks, and also rock art also are found nearby Jeongho settlement. I believe they are related to Jeongho and its settlers. I'm also trying to establish that the missing bone core or a bone site of Lo is located somewhere around in or around Jeongho. Some of the artwork found in Caillou Valley are similar to the artwork found near Jeongho. Some of these artworks and manuscripts are related to Yungdu bone or oral transmission of Shangsung civilization. I have published a few articles about these rock arts and bone manuscripts found in they. If you are interested to know more, we can discuss about this during the Q&A session. Landscape and water problem seems to be the cause of migration from Jeongho to They. They is just 200 meters high from higher up from Jeongho. This photo was taken from one of the cave openings, and you can see clearly in the middle the settlement of Presente. Now let's climb slowly towards the present settlement of They. Finally, we have reached They, a place I called home, where I have spent more than 40 months in total. I think I have some karmic connection to this place. The structure you see here in front is Riksum Gompo, located at the entrance of the village. It is the place for the protection of the village, so no evil force can enter the settlement. 26 families and around 300 people used to live here. Now there are just 14 families and around 100 people living in the village. Here, the women are gathered here outside the village to welcome us. This is the part of local traditional welcoming ceremony. Now let's move close towards the village center. This structure you see here is a mane wall, and inside a small red house you'll see a huge prayer wheel. By the way, they villages follow Nyingma sect of Tibetan Buddhism, and there are few families with bone heritage. Most of Upper Mustang, however, follow Sakya tradition of Tibetan Buddhism. Here you can see a typical house of They, and next to it is with the red painted roof is village Gompa. Now let's talk about the heritage of Thay in ruins, which gives some cultural and historical reference to the settlement of Thay. There are mainly 5 ruins, ruins of Torchegamo, Bonya, Lahigamo. Torchegamo is the ruin of King's Palace. Some believe it to be a royal tomb. Administrative fort of Gunthang ruler or provisional governor in 13th century, so may have been the residence of a provincial governor. Lahigamo is a ruin of a priest queen, and ruins of Bonya is someone related to or a messenger from Tibet. So this shows that this settlement, these ruins were part of Gunthang Empire. Thay villages are dependent on agriculture and animal husbandry for livelihood. Seasonal trade in winter months is also very important for survival. There is only a single crop cycle in the village, and agriculture produce is never enough for the villagers to last the whole year. Mostly wheat and barley is grown here. Unlike other higher settlements in the Himalayas, buckwheat doesn't grow in Thay. Upper Mustang region lies in rain shadow, thus the landscape is mostly barren and dry. Due to climate change, precipitation pattern has changed and pasture land are degrading in alarming speed. Animal husbandry is not possible due to the lack of proper pasture. Most families in Thay have given up on animal husbandry in recent time. Here in this next photo, you could see the abandoned fields of Thay. Please look at the barren land between the settlement and the hill. The acute shortage of water has forced villagers to abandon these fields. Thay villagers are forced to migrate elsewhere as a last resort because they cannot sustain their livelihood in the village. And they decided to move to a place called Thangchung near Chambale. The plain you see here is Thangchung, and the river underneath is Kaligandaki. This is the part of ancestral ground which is around 9 hectares in size. It is 4 hours walk away from Thay. Thay villagers collectively decided to relocate to this place in 2009, and planning and preparation started for relocation in 2010. 26 families are involved in this resettlement project currently. This area on the bank of the river is Chambale, which is just below Thangchung plain. Apple and fruit plantation is located here. There are around 10,000 apple trees and other fruit trees in this plantation. Locals have also made temporary quarters in this plantation. Here you can see the designs prepared by a well-known architect, Wolfgang Kohn, together with the villagers. French NGO based in Nepal is mainly providing technical and financial support for the resettlement project right now. Local government is also supporting with some small assistance in recent time. For the resettlement project, villagers have built hydro project, also supported by Besha Nepal, and we have to study the weather in detail because there are no weather stations around. So we have built a very minimalistic weather station to collect the weather data. Here you see villagers performing a small ritual before the inauguration of the drinking water system in Chambale. Locals A local committee is in charge of all the development work in this project, and they take ownership of the project very seriously. Their resettlement project is unique in so many ways. Here in this picture, you see the origin of Kaligandaki, the yellow point, where three rivers, De River, D River, and Charang River meets, and they form Kaligandaki. And you could see Thangchung and Chambale apple plantation in this picture as well. Here, villagers are planting timber trees. The community may need it later for their housing project, and here they are planting Himalayan poplar trees, which is quite a good, which grows quite good locally. In the apple plantation, in the fruit plantation, there are also walnut, peaches, apricots, hazelnut, plum, and other fruit trees. Here you can see how nice the peaches grow in Chambale. Here the initial work is being done in the plantation. They are trying to plant apple trees. Apple plantation means a lot of work. The villagers are working with farmers from Normandy and learning about apple farming because it is still new to them. Apple plantation is supposed to be to make the transition easier, so they are serious about their apple project. Here the apple plantation in Chambale, early spring. Isn't it beautiful? It is villagers' hard work, blood, sweat, and tears. Villagers' resettlement project depends upon the success of this apple plantation in Chambale. Last year, we produced around 3 tons of apple. This year, we expect around 10 to 15 tons of harvest. There are plans to process these apples and produce locally. Villagers are looking for different options right now, but these organic apples need market. Since 2019, Green Growth is partnering with their villagers and selling their apples in Kathmandu. Logistic and proper marketing still remains the biggest challenge for the villagers. So let's focus briefly about the climate problems of today. The main source of income for the villagers is agriculture, animal husbandry, and trade. Climate change and environmental degradation has depleted the water sources of the extreme weather and precipitation pattern had changed local landscape and water system. There is almost no effect of monsoon in Upper Mustan. The winter snow is expected to accumulate and melt in spring months to provide water for the irrigation. But in recent time, snow normally melts during winter months due to high temperature resulting in flood. The groundwater system almost has no time to charge itself. And there is no snow left for spring. So most of the water sources in the region have dried. Agriculture is simply not possible right now in Thay. There are only 9 families left with goat herd, and just 1 family in Thay owns a yak herd right now. Yak is expensive, and a loss of single animal can ruin the family's yearly net income. In recent past, there were almost 8-9 families with yak herd in Thay. Almost all the families used to have goat herd in the past. But degrading pasture is making animal husbandry unsustainable in Day at the moment. Small but vital part of local income is generated by selling local surplus such as jimbu, mushroom, and other local products in lower areas during the winter months. So trade is really important for locals. But there is simply no surplus of local products in recent time. Locals have also exploited their natural resources for the survival, and the reserves is depleting very fast. In former times, local used to trade in Tibet, but since the late 1950s, this option is also gone. All forms of traditional livelihood in Day is affected by climate change right now. That's why apple plantation is so important for the community right now. So we have seen during this tour that Day villagers and their ancestors have moved in the past, but it is different right now. It is different now because Day villagers are living the change of climate too quick for them to adapt to. Their local and indigenous knowledge is simply not enough. Himalayan region is very fragile and an epicenter of climate change, and 1/3 of world population directly and indirectly rely on it for survival. Shouldn't we do something? Or leave Day to fight its own battle alone? Where is the solidarity? And where is the climate fund we talk about? Also, change starts from within. Have we questioned ourselves how sustainable our lifestyle is? The future of Day depends on us and how we react to this climate emergency. Don't forget, the future of Day is our future too. We all are in this together. Thank you all. Thank you for listening to me and being on this virtual tour of Day. I hope you liked it. I would also like to thank British Council and Story Cycle for giving me this opportunity.